Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. I thought the Malbec episode turned out pretty interesting. I mean, we had one vanilla ice cream Malbec that a lot of people will like. I mean, a lot of people buy vanilla ice cream, right? And then we had the King Malbec, which was, you know, the level that I like to go to. And of course, you can go far beyond that. You can spend a load of money on Malbec and get some really nice versions of it. But now we're going to an interesting wine. I don't know if you remember, but a couple of years ago, they found that the people in Sardinia who drink Cannonau, which this is, they lived into their 90s. And there's elements in Cannonau that evidently help the heart, and so they feel like because they regularly drink this wine in Sardinia, that contributes to their longevity of life. And so it became quite a popular wine. A lot of people were looking for it, and like they said, the article I read, it said it isn't that you have to drink a lot of it. The average Sardinian, I guess is what you would say, drinks about 2 glasses a day. So there you go. But what is Cannonau? Well, actually, the Cannonau is Grenache, basically. And it is grown in Sardinia. So they call it Cannonau di Sardinia. And I have 2 here to try. So I'm very excited about this because I remember when that article came out, and I kind of looked into it a little bit. I didn't really, sometimes, being cynical a little bit, I didn't quite buy into it. But it is interesting that in Sardinia, the folks that drink this wine on a regular basis live into their 90s, and that's average. So that's pretty cool. So we can call this the good for your heart wine, Cannonau di Sardinia. Now, Grenache is an interesting grape. It very much reflects its terroir. Garnacha, which they call it in Spain, you can definitely tell the difference between a Garnacha and a Grenache grown in Washington State, or a Grenache grown in California, or in this case, we'll see if this is different than Grenache. Grenache tends to be a little bit spicy. I like Grenache. It's one of my favorite grapes. So I'm excited to try these. The first one is the Antonio Sanguinetti Cannonau di Sardinia. Antonio Sanguinetti is I guess a pretty famous car racer. I'm not into car racing, but he is. 13.5% alcohol. This wine was going to be a candidate for my pick of the month. It rolls in at $11. Let's give it a whirl here and see what we get. So a nice experiment, maybe for $11. What the heck? Drink it for a year. See if it helps your heart at all. Let's see what we get on the nose. I think it's polyphenols is the word that they used. This has more of that than some wines. Let's see. Interesting. Very, very, very raspberry-like on the nose. Raspberry and just a hint of cranberry coming through. But it reminds me of like if you cut into a really fresh raspberry pie. That's the kind of raspberry I'm getting on this one. Let's see what we get on the palate. Very high tone on the palate. Really nice lift of the raspberries and the cranberries come through big time on this. But a really nice lift from the acidity. But the acidity is well integrated, so you don't feel like you're getting an acid bomb. But it lifts it in the palate, gives it a nice feel in the mouth. A lot of red flowers coming through as well underneath, which I really like. I don't know why, but I'm kind of nerdy about that. I love it when you get a floral kind of red flower component or any kind of flowers on the palate. It just makes it a very interesting wine That's for me, of course. You have your own palate. Maybe you don't like that. That's okay. It's okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings. This is a very good wine. I mean, it's old world. You can tell. It has good minerality. I get a little bit of like a dusty rock, like river rock component coming through on my mouth. But I love that high beam of fruit, that raspberry, almost a little bit of blueberry as well, and that cranberry coming through. And it is just delicious. It's like mouth-watering delicious. I don't know how else to describe it. I like this wine a lot. And it has a little bit of a licorice component, kind of like the underbelly, a little bit of licorice, for sure. Nice dry finish. I mean, this is a great food wine. If you're doing hamburgers, if you're doing a prime rib, if you're doing steak, if you're doing pizza, the acidity is so nicely integrated and makes it really compatible with food, especially food protein type foods. It's be good with any sort of a stinky cheese. It'd be really good with it. Any sort of cheese, really. I mean, really. I love cheese, so yeah, I'd have this with any cheese. Except maybe pepper jack might not work. I think for $11 and a little tobacco on the backside, not a super long finish. It peters out a little bit on the finish, but I mean, for $11, this is a stellar bottle of wine. I mean, it just has a lot of interesting qualities to it. It's well built, nice integration of acidity, good food wine, decent complexity, good structure. I'm going to go B. I'm going to go straight up B on this one. I think it's an overachiever, and I like it a lot. And if you want to try Cannonau, for those of you who watch this or in my hometown, I have it at the store because I like this wine. And I reviewed it a while ago, not on YouTube, but in my Moleskine. And I remember liking it then, and now I understand why. I understand why I liked it. Let's move on. New one to me. The 2016 Nuraghe Crabbione Cannonau di Sardegna. This rolls in at $17, and I'm just going to look for the alcohol. It's 14%. There you go. By the way, did I show the other one? Yeah, there's that one. I don't have to zoom in now on this new camera, but I do. I can reach pretty close. I hope you can see that label. Yeah. Little rinse here. So I'm thinking about kind of putting a few Cannonau in my everyday wine drinking. I like the idea of wine that's good for your heart, if it's good wine. Okay. Let's see what we get on the nose. Never tried this one before, so I'm very curious. Now this one has a little bit of stinkiness. I get a little bit of a stinky sock component coming through. Not terrible, but it's there. I get like a beet component, like beetroot. This one's fleshy on the nose to me. It's like a slab of red meat that hasn't been cooked yet. Without the blood, if you can picture that. A little bit of bark, a little bit of tobacco. Not a lot of fruit. I'll get maybe a little bit of currant, barely. But fruit is not the first thing that comes to my mind when I smell this wine. Kind of like a piece of steak marinated in beet juice with a little bit of tobacco thrown in and a little bit of And while you're cooking it, you have socks that you had on all day, and it's kind of drifting up to your nose. With a little bit of bark, yeah. That's what I'm getting, not a lot of fruit. I'm very curious to try this. Let's see what we get on the palate. What a contrast. I mean, a lot of you are going to really like this wine. It's a very plush fruit up front. I mean, nothing like the nose. And I remember going to Somm class and they go, well, I'm tasting this on the palate. Well, you want to change what you got on the nose? No, I don't want to change what I got on the nose. What I got on the nose. Wine can be like that. You can smell one thing and then you taste it and it's like, wow. Still not real discernible fruit. It is fleshy on the palate, I will say that. I get like a combination of plum, currant, dark cherry skin sort of thing coming through. But I'm telling you right now that most people that put this to their mouth are going to go, wow, this is a good wine. And, I'm not big on big, flabby monster wines. Sometimes they can be over the top. I do like them from now on. As all of you know, I love Zinfandel, and Zinfandel is known to be kind of jammy. So I do like that in a wine. But this one is very interesting. I like that fleshy texture on the palate. I get a little bit of a spice component coming through. Has a long finish. I'm still tasting it. The tannins are light on this. This reminds me a lot of a Grenache because you get a little bit of that strawberry component coming through as well. Kind of that riper strawberry underneath. I like this one. This reminds me, more than the other one, this reminds me of a Grenache from Spain a little bit. It's a little lighter. A lot of you like that if you're having if you're having lamb, if you're having veal, or if you're having something like that. Not so strong, necessarily. Ham, this would be great with ham. This is a great wine for those people that you could even put an ice cube in this, I'm going to be quite honest. This reminds me of the Lafarge Grenache that I picked them on a while back. Very interesting wine. Try it again. This has so much flavor, and yet it's light on its feet, which is very intriguing to me. Just get a tiny bit of grip on the backside, a little bit of licorice coming through on the back end, and then white pepper, typical of Grenache, a little spicy on the backside. This packs a punch for being as light as it is, and the finish is very long. This is definitely high in the delicious category for me. I know a lot of you will like it. I'm waffling a little bit here because I don't know why. I don't know why. This one really caught me off guard. It caught me off guard. What did I say it was? $17. Yeah, and right when it hits your mid palate, there's a little bit of a baking spice element that comes through that I find quite interesting. This is a very interesting wine. This could be, I'm gonna have to go A-. I just think it's a really solid wine. I think it shows Grenache really well, and for the area that it's from, if this is good for your heart, buy some because. Well, both of these actually. I mean, $11. That's an excellent wine. Entirely different. It's like, your brother. Who reflects more of your father, and in my family, my brother, one of my brothers, is just like my dad's side of the family, and I'm just like my mom's side of the family. And a lot of people couldn't necessarily tell we're brothers until we start talking about stuff, and that kind of comes through. This is the same idea. Same, from the same family, but entirely different in a lot of different ways. But both very good. There you go, Cannonau, Grenache, from Sardinia. Good for your heart. Seek it out. Thanks for taking a little time out of your day. If you want to hook up with me, I'm on Twitter. I'm at Stan the Wine Man, or on Instagram, same handle. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. I'm getting more subscribers. I'm excited about that. Thank you if you have subscribed. I hope you're enjoying these. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.